Okay, welcome to the deep dive.
Glad to be here.
So today, we're jumping into some interesting source material. It's excerpts from an introduction to English grammar.
Right, and we're really focusing, aren't we, on the bit called basic sentence structure.
Exactly. And our goal, our mission, if you like, with this source, it's really about understanding how to build, simple and correct sentences in English.
And doing it efficiently, getting that core knowledge quickly.
Precisely. The source itself, it gets right to it. It highlights this core idea
Mm.
that English sentences, well, the simple ones anyway, they usually follow a pretty specific pattern.
Yeah, it's presented as really foundational. Like, this isn't just a way, it's often the way for clear, simple sentences.
Default setting almost.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Get this pattern, and you've basically got the key according to this source.
Okay, so what is this pattern then? Where the source says it starts with the basics, right? The absolute must-haves.
hmm Every complete sentence, it explains, needs a subject.
Who or what the sentence is actually about,
Exactly. And crucially, that subject needs to be, well, doing something or being something.
which is where the verb comes in.
That's it. The source really emphasizes subject followed by verb. That's presented as like the irreducible minimum for a lot of sentences.
Simple, like birds fly. Subject, birds, verb, fly.
Direct, clear. That subject verb connection is the engine, as the source puts it.
But it builds on that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The source shows how this pattern often gets, well, a bit bigger. It adds things after the verb.
Yes, exactly. After the verb, you very often find an object.
The thing receiving the action.
That's the one. The person or thing the verb acts upon. So the pattern the source really pushes for simple sentences is subject, verb, object.
Ah, the classic SEO. I see it really zeroes in on that.
It does.
Like, she reads books. She's subject. Reads verb, books, object.
Spot on. And the source presents this SVO structure as like the bedrock, the foundation for making sentences that work, that are clear.
And knowing this isn't just theory, is it? The source seems to argue that if you can spot this SVO structure,
Yeah, it helps you build your own correct sentences and also helps you understand sentences you come across.
give you a predictable framework.
Right. A structure to expect or to use.
It's like having a mental blueprint, maybe. Instead of just juggling words, you know where they generally fit,
Mm-hmm. And the implication seems to be that mastering SVO is the fastest route to correctness for basic sentences.
which ties into efficiency, right?
Mm.
For you listening, wanting to get key info fast.
Focusing on this SVO pattern as laid out here is super effective. Why? Because it covers so many common, simple sentences.
You get a lot of bang for your buck, learning wise.
Exactly. Biggest return for understanding basic structure, according to this source.
It really does seem to simplify things. Once you can find the subject, find the verb, find the object,
You've basically got the main scaffolding up for a clear sentence. That's the argument.
everything else just kind of hangs off that SVO core.
Often, yeah. For simple sentences, it's presented as the main organizing principle. The source keeps circling back to it.
Okay, so let's boil it down. The key takeaway, the real nugget from this specific source excerpt.
It's that understanding and using that core subject verb object pattern is fundamental.
That's the route to simple, correct English sentences it lays out.
Right. Find the subject, the verb, the object. Put them in that order, generally speaking. That connects straight to the goal of getting useful knowledge quickly.
Absolutely. SVO is your go-to based
Yep.
on this. But, and here's something the source kind of leaves us thinking about.
Ah.
It says, English sentences usually follow this SVO pattern. Usually.
Ah, that word usually. It does stand out, doesn't it?
It really does. So, okay, if the source makes a point of saying sentences usually follow SVO, what does that imply about the times they, well, don't?
What happens then?
Yeah. What other possibilities does that open up? When people choose not to use that basic pattern, what effects can that create?
Hmm. That's definitely something interesting to chew on, stemming right from what the source tells us
Hmm.
and what it perhaps subtly leaves unsaid.